I say for you guys. All right. So 2 weeks ago, I told you about this operation. This guy had stem cell and got his sight back in England. It was in England.
Now, it was in England.
I told I was going to print it up, and I did. Now I got to find it anyway. So, all right. So in the studio, Nikki Nix is here. She's the patient services coordinator for Ocala Eye, and Chris Bond is in the studio. Everybody does that to you, right? He's the account manager for Ocala Eye, and he could be the next James Bond. He's got the actor thing going on. And Shannon, right? Shannon Rains? How you doing, Shannon?
Good, how are you?
Good to see you. That's Robin's daughter's name. Did you know that?
Yeah, she told me.
Just gotta put everybody's microphone on so I hear everybody. Yeah. Hey, how you doing?
Good morning.
Is chocolate okay for
Chocolate's
Chocolate
okay.
For eyes?
is okay.
We'll take chocolate.
The Easter Bunny eats carrots, right? That's why he can see where we live.
That's right. That's why he can see.
There was an article, and I saved it. Now I don't know what I did with it. This is Robin. I do this all the time, right? I will save an article for somebody, and then I forget what I did with it. So, anyway, I don't know. I mean, do you want to comment on that real quickly? When you hear about a story like that, is that hope? Is it what do you call it? When is it false hope? Should we be excited? Somebody with macular degeneration, they hear a story like that.
I don't think that it should be disappointing for people. I definitely think it should create hope. Just like, Zora was saying last week, that I think that it's just important that patients are making sure that they take the time to do their own research into it, to make sure that if it's something that they're going to look into, they are actually at a facility that is part of a research study program, and not someone who's just trying to duplicate what the study shows, and they're not actually in a program, and they're doing it kind of off-label.
I know.
If that makes sense.
If I could tell you something, there's two ways that we talk. On the radio, we're a little careful what we say. But if we were sitting like at a cafe, I would tell you this. Now, on the radio, I wouldn't tell you this. But at a cafe, I would tell you this. The guy was 86 years old, okay? And I'm thinking to myself, maybe he said, I'm 86, what do I have to lose? He's not going to die from eye surgery, and the fact is, it turned out okay for him.
Right.
So, you know what I mean?
I definitely think,
I wouldn't say that on the
obviously,
radio, because it's probably politically incorrect, but...
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to vary on patient to patient. We just want to make sure that patients are understanding the consequences of, especially someone who's doing off-label use. That
where do they get the stem cells from, by the way? Do you know? No,
I don't know.
Well, is it embryonic, right?
I don't know.
They don't do that here in the U.S., but I've done a little bit, just research just to see what.
You have?
Tell us a little.
Surgeries. In some surgeries, like I know, like orthopedic surgeries, they use stem cells, but it's very limited in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
Right now.
It's interesting. Well, maybe this is the thing of the future. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I feel like it will be. I think we're gearing that way. I think that I think that in the future it will be something that we look to for a lot of our medical needs, for sure. We just have a lot more stringent hoops to jump through here.
So talking about the candy and things like that, the diabetes has an effect on eyesight, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Can you talk about that a little bit? Are there things that diabetic person should do differently to preserve his or her eyesight?
Well, I mean, I think it's going to affect their eyes thing? Just like it affects their organs. The more tightly they keep their blood sugar controlled, the better health they're going to keep their eye in, because diabetes in the eye is literally just blood vessels that are leaking, and they leak because the patient's blood sugar is not under control, and once it bleeds back there and causes that damage, that's irreversible. We can't fix that. So we want to prevent that from happening, just like organ-wise, it affects their organs the same way when they don't keep their blood sugar tightly controlled.
Do you see it? When you're looking in somebody's eyes, can you tell that they have a condition, whether it's diabetes or something else?
Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
What do you normally see?
The diabetic changes are probably the
that. Oh, you can see that real easy? Really?
Yeah. It's like the window to the body.
Patients
a patient will not even know that they have
high blood pressure. They can have hypertension retinopathy, which is the same type of thing. It's bleeding in the back of the eye. People who, we can see what is a finding for us called Hollenhorst plaques, but
What's it
it's a
called?
plaque in the blood, in the vein or the artery, just like, and a lot of times we send them straight to their PCP, and they've got,
Oh my gosh, it's over my head now.
they've got,
3 hollow horses and PCP.
Yes.
What is that?
it's a new thing coming out.
Soon to be a major motion picture.
Mm-hmm.
How about when people have bleeding on the brain? Does that secrete its way into the retinal nerve and the eyes?
I think more so that, and Shannon can help me out with this but I think more so we would see affect their visual field just from the damage where the bleeding causes the damage in the brain can affect their peripheral vision, their visual field defect is I think where we would notice that more so in the eyes than, actually that leading to the eye itself bleeding.
Last week, I think it was last week, you were talking about the blocking of the UV rays. The younger you start, the better you
Yes.
are, right? So somebody had asked the question about, do you need the wraparound glasses?
Right.
And I wanted to pass that on to you. Do you need I can't imagine a child wearing those wraparound glasses.
No, obviously, I think, like Zora was saying, they are coming out with newer technology in the lenses now where the back side of the lens is helping to eliminate the reflection of that into the eye. But obviously,
really?
the more coverage you
Okay,
have,
yeah.
the less it can get in from, any angle. But obviously, you're not going to have kids walking around with
That's right.
sunglasses, goggles on. They're not going to get them on their face.
So last week, if you didn't hear it, you got I would recommend you listen to last week's podcast. That was when Zora gave us everything we needed to know about that subject, or pretty much a lot of it anyway.
Yeah.
But the big takeaway was the sooner you start, the better, because you could live to what it was 100 without any eye problems.
Right. They're just
Wow.
finding out now through
Wow.
research that it is affecting us more than what we realize as we get older. We think we're doing the right things, but
Yeah.
we're really not.
When people have cataract surgery and then you ask them to come back for a recheck, what do you look for when you're doing the recheck?
Oh, they're just making sure that the eye itself is looking healthy, that there's no out of the ordinary inflammation in the eye, that everything's clear, there's no infection starting, that the patient's adjusting to everything well, so that the wound is healing as it should.
I had a crazy dream about my eyelid.
Oh boy.
I did.
Here we go.
Oh, I had a dream that this eye, the eyelid, was separated from the rest. I know, isn't that crazy? Yeah. And it was like infected. And I said to Robin, "Does this look normal to you?" And then she had this big thing on her face that she could see anything with. And she said, "No, that doesn't look good." And I said, "Thank God this is a dream."
Wow.
Have you ever seen that where somebody's
In the
eyelid?
dream, you were
I know, isn't that crazy? I've never done that before.
You're asking questions in the dream.
I was asking questions, and then I said
About the dream?
I know.
To an untrained professional, no less. I can understand if Nikki was in there.
So I mean, have you ever seen that where somebody's eyelid split? Tell me no.
I mean,
I've seen it after surgery.
yeah, I mean, sutures come out.
What?
Yeah, the blepharoplasty that they have where they remove the excess skin off of the eyelids.
Yeah.
A patient, their eyelids are actually stitched back together.
And they fall apart?
Well, I've seen patients where there's been instances where they've rubbed it and the wounds come undone and it separates.
Oh.
A little gaping hole.
I am not doing this. I am not going for that.
I've only seen it once in 21 years, if that makes you feel any better.
That's why they give you those glasses and patches so you don't.
So you
Just
don't touch
rub
them?
your eye after
What was
you
the
have
thing
it done.
when we were kids? If somebody had a bad eye, they would cover the good one. Do you still-
Amblyopia.
Yes,
do you
that's
still do
called
that?
amblyopia. Yes, they do. And it's to help. Basically, what has happened is that eye, for whatever reason, whatever's causing it, whether it's not lining up in the right place, the brain never really taught it how to see well. So when we cover the good eye, it's causing that eye to have to work, which is what we want it to do.
It's making that eye work out.
Did I tell you what I discovered about tilting my head?
No, I don't know.
If I tilt my head back, take my eyeglasses off when I'm driving, and I tilt my head back, I swear everything is perfectly clear when I look down my nose like that. I know it's crazy because then you don't see the squirrels like really close to the car, but you can see the cars way up there.
It's changing the shape of your eye some.
Maybe.
It is. It's changing the angles that it's coming in as well.
Even read the prices on the menus, like at McDonald's, the thing up.
If you got the right pair of glasses, you'd be able to do that with
I
your
know.
head straight.
There you go.
But right now, I can tilt my head and read them.
So
So you're just going to drive around like this?
Well, it depends on if I'm trying to see like a license plate number or like an exit sign. Like if it says, McDonald's next exit, I need to see that. That kind of sign.
Well, what attracted all of you to go into the eye profession?
Williston
Because
High School is the answer.
A bunch of us did come from there.
Because this is so specialized, but you have to be so precise and so caring with somebody else's eyesight.
I think it's just one of those things that you kind of fall into, and you either fall in love with it or you don't. I mean,
Yep.
you definitely have to be interested in it and have to have a passion for it to, be a long-term career for you. But I just think I think it's one of those things, for me at least, it was, you get started in it and, oh, this is really cool, it's interesting, and then you get further into it and you had no idea how many things could actually be wrong with the eye.
Do you know it's probably the only medical thing that has fashion, right? You get a hearing aid, you want to hide that thing,
Yes.
right? But with eyeglasses, you want to look cool. You want
They're
to
an
fashion,
accessory.
right?
They're an accessory.
it's like
There's-
shoes.
I mean, there's nothing else.
Exactly.
A prosthetic leg might
love
be.
shoes.
Maybe your prosthetic leg, you want that to look nice.
I'm getting one like the blade thing where I can
Don't
run.
say that.
Like
Don't say
there
that.
you go.
don't
like
want
the
to say
kangaroo
that.
leg looking thing.
Don't.
There you go.
I'm
Nikki.
just saying, if I have to get one, that's what I'm getting.
Nikki, stop.
Have it painted up.
She
Yeah.
pulls her eyelashes out and she's imagining herself with no legs.
You want to think about that, pulling eyelashes out? About luck or something.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, you had that.
We did. Have you ever heard that?
Then if you find an eyelash like on your cheek, if
You're
you make
supposed
a
to blow
wish
it off
on
and
it
make a
and
wish,
blow it
yeah.
off, you make a wish.
And what happens if it sticks to your hand or something?
I don't know.
It
Gotta
don't
wait for
stick.
the next
you gotta
one.
get it off.
Yeah, but that was the thing with your wish on it if it sticks.
All right, so I did find an answer. Do you remember when you asked about the goat pupils?
Yes.
Goat eyes?
Yeah,
All right,
the square pupils.
So I did look into that.
Right.
And it basically, I looked into, they have done a study at some
Oh, good.
UC Berkeley and Durham University.
Isn't that interesting? It's called UC.
There you go.
Okay, go ahead.
They did it on a bunch of different species, but they basically said it falls back into that predator prey type of thing. But goats are grazers, and that so their eyes will stay parallel. Their eyes actually rotate 50 degrees
Really?
per eye, which is 10 times that of a human eye.
Really?
So it enables them to maintain a prey's eye view, so they can see things coming for them
While they're eating.
while they're even when they're chowing, when their head's down and they're eating.
Oh my gosh.
That's why, you know why they call them prey?
Wow.
That's what they do when they're,
When they're getting chased.
yeah.
When something's coming for them.
Well, that's really fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think that would affect humans if the human eye could do something like
be
that?
eating
Gosh,
grass
if it
all day long.
rotated like that.
Yeah, wouldn't that? That would probably distort your vision for
Yeah,
driving and things
Yeah,
like
but just
that.
think how
They
good
would.
grass would taste. You wouldn't ever have to go shopping.
You see a lot
You
of
could
people
eat
like,
anywhere.
driving, looking down instead of looking back like you do.
That's right.
And you'd be
That's right.
looking
When
down and
people-
still be able to see.
When people get the glass eyes, are they permanently in there or
No, they can come
do
out.
they come out?
Yeah.
Or, and then what keeps
It's
the
actually
inside
shaped
from
like that. So
getting
the color
dirty?
they actually hand paint the outside of it, and it's literally
do?
shaped like this.
They hand painted it?
They're
How much does that pay?
called ocularis. I don't know.
That'd be a great job, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, they hand painted. I
They
want to do
hand
that.
paint them. That's how come they
you're the
usually
painter,
match
right?
the patient's other eye so closely, is that they're
And then how do they stay in there?
well, it's just they're called scleral
Scleral
shells,
shells.
and they're shaped like this. So basically, that just kind of sits in the socket. It just goes in so that
Almost like a contact lens,
Yeah.
but really big.
And then do they remove them at night when they're sleeping? And what does that look like when it
Some
comes
people
out?
don't, but some people do. They can, because you can take it out with a little suction if you stick it to the front, or they can just kind of
Does it
blink
pop
it out.
and make a sound?
I don't think so.
Does it do that?
Do you have to do something special to the eyelid itself then to make it more tight, to make sure that the eye stays
No, not
in?
usually. I mean, they usually, build the inside of the socket where that scleral shell will sit in there, because having the eye removed is called an enucleation. So they actually take the time to tie off all those tendons and muscles and everything inside
Oh my gosh.
inside that socket area.
And they do actually
it's
put a
the-
conformer in to help keep the eye
That socket in a shape.
In a
so that
round
it is-
shape.
Yeah.
Is it more common than we realize? People with glass eyes?
probably.
Yes.
That's why I wouldn't know if I'm
You
looking at
wouldn't
somebody,
know.
right?
So
Most of the time you
ocular-
wouldn't know. The only time you would know is if
Yeah.
they're looking back and forth. Obviously, it doesn't move like the other eye because it's not attached to muscles. or
Right.
anything,
It
but-
does move just a hair, but I mean, the ocularists do such a good job. Even us that are trained professionals, if we, I mean, when they're sitting there when we're looking at them in the exam chair, there's a lot of times we will go to check the vision in that eye or check the pressure because we have no idea if it's a new patient to us and they haven't told us yet. And they do that just to mess with us.
Well, good for them. That
Oh,
was
lot of
really?
times.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, because if you guys have good humor and you're fun to be around and you laugh, that really it keeps the patient
Right.
loose and
Right.
more
But they
receptive.
they look very realistic.
Yes,
they look
do.
very good.
They do an amazing job on them.
And is there anything that the scientists are working on, some kind of mini camera or something to attach to the nerves that make you see the vision to make the person see?
I haven't heard of one if there is.
I don't know. I feel like I have read somewhere that they have worked on some kind of little implantable chip thing. I have no idea.
It's one of
even-
those future things.
Yeah,
But see, they
where-
have
where
it for
it's in-
hearing. That's what Rush Limbaugh has.
Arms. Like they have the robotic arms now
Yeah.
that attach,
Yeah.
I guess,
The
to the nerves. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, if you have a phone call.
Okay.
Good morning. You're on the air. Thank you for calling.
Good morning. I had a horrific child experience with a glass eye.
What happened?
Uh-oh.
My uncle had a glass eye, and he always thought it was very funny when he'd come over and take it out and sit it in my lap as a child and go, "I had my eye on you."
Well,
And I know but it's one of those things as a kid. It's like, no, body parts are not supposed to come off people.
I can imagine that was disturbing to see as a child.
Oh, no.
Yes, indeed.
Got my eye on you. Thank you for sharing that. Did you ever hear what was the guy who played Columbo? What was his name? Peter Falk.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
He had a glass eye, and he told a story about falling asleep, and it fell out, and the dog was chewing on it.
Oh, no.
And then he had to go get a new eye.
Yeah. Teeth marks in it wouldn't be a good thing. Wouldn't be aesthetically pleasing.
When you have LASIK surgery and you want to be a scuba diver and go all that depth and everything, can you still do that?
Yes. Yes. There's a time frame.
Pressure
There's a
doesn't-
time frame after the surgery that they'll have you, limit or change what your normal activities would be as you're healing. But yes, that is something they can
Is
do.
that
A
the-
lot of times that's a driving factor for people to get it, is because that could be something that they do a lot extracurricularly or whatever. And
Oh.
I was wondering if that's a question that comes up common, like when you have eye surgery. I'm sure you ask, do you smoke? Do you drive? Or do you drive a motorcycle? Especially because the wind would be greater, wouldn't it? And I'm guessing, do you scuba dive or do you dive? Right? That's got to be an issue for.
we usually, neither the driving motorcycle or diving would keep them from having surgery. The smoking we ask them to not do because we don't want them to smoke up to a certain time prior to their surgery or the day of their surgery. It does factor into their healing, but their extracurricular activities,
Really?
we would delve a little bit into their history just to see if the time frame of their surgery was scheduled right and there wasn't anything upcoming that we needed to work around for the patient, as far as making sure that they were following post-op protocol around whatever trips or anything that they had planned. But
How do birth control pills and pregnancy in general affect the woman's eyesight?
I don't know that birth control does. I haven't heard that it does, but pregnancy can. The hormones are fluctuating just, throughout the body like they do whenever you're pregnant, and it can cause vision changes. And
Nursing as well.
most of the time, whenever, you get your hormones regulated, your vision will go back to normal. But that's a common thing whenever you're pregnant
So
to have
women
vision
should
changes.
wait
Yes.
until they're all done with what they're doing.
Yeah.
Most eye doctors will tell you that. I mean, they're not
Yeah.
going to usually change anything while you're pregnant or while you're
Yeah,
nursing.
because if you get glasses, I mean, they're only going to work temporarily, usually, until your hormone is back in balance, and then, then those glasses probably wouldn't work for you anymore.
Oh, okay. And is that a good thing where when you're getting a new pair of glasses, can we give you our old ones to give like to the Lions Club or something, or should we just donate it directly to them?
We have Lions Club drop boxes at all of our locations
Oh, that's wonderful.
that patients can just drop glasses off if they choose to want to donate them. And Lions Club comes and collects them from there.
And do your optometrists help in that? Do you, because I know Lindsay went to Haiti, do you do things around our community with the Lions Club, or do they have their own optometrists with them?
I think
know.
that they have their. I mean,
know.
we participate in things like, We Care and things like that, Division
Oh.
of Blind Services.
Yeah, I was going to say the Division of Blind Services, I know that we do work with them often, but I don't know about the Lions Club.
And We Care, that's a good thing to participate in too.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
If you have any questions about eye care, you can call right now, or you can go to Ocala Eye or call Ocala. Do you take a lot of phone inquiries, like people just asking questions on the phone?
We do. We take about 700 phone calls a day.
700?
Yes.
Oh, my.
Whoa, who's answering the phones?
We have a full-time 7 people call center.
Really?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Is there, do you have any like statistics, like the most common question?
I don't know. No, I mean,
Do you know we had a topic this morning. I that was just a coincidence that I asked you that because it was called the most common, the weirdest questions that people ask Google.
oh,
Like am I a psycho? Okay, that was one of them. But one of them, I'm gonna just drive myself crazy looking for it. But it was, how do I know if I have worms in my eyes? And I'm thinking
Yeah.
it was based. Remember we had a story.
Yeah,
yes,
that,
we did
yeah.
have that story. That lady that.
So that's a weird question. And Google probably said, why is this question being asked so much? Probably because that news story was out there. So I'm guessing.
Or they heard, the program here. So
I would
Yeah.
say,
Started
if I had to guess,
We have that many
I would.
listeners. Yeah.
If I had to guess, I would say it's patients calling in with an SCH because for them. It
Yes.
looks very scary, but it's actually not technically scary for them. So
What is that?
It's very common. Whenever you get a blood vessel that has ruptured in the eye,
Oh yeah, the red
and
look.
Yes.
and it's really red because it's actual blood pooling,
Yeah.
on top of the white part of your eye, on top of the sclera, and it's called a subconcheme. And whenever they don't feel it, it doesn't have they don't have a decrease in their vision. So whenever they look in the mirror
looks
or
scary.
when somebody sees them, they're like, "Whoa, what is wrong with your eye?" And then they panic a little. And
I would say that
Call
would probably
us.
be the most common thing if I had to choose
It
anything.
sounds like
that they-
Chinese or Japanese or something. Stem tam chin. What'd you call?
subconjunctival
yes.
hemorrhage,
Oh, okay. There's a longer.
subconcheme.
What,
We abbreviate everything. All of
say the
the
abbreviated part again.
subconcheme.
Oh, that's why I thought it sounded Japanese.
I think it's wonderful that you have real people answering the phone
Yes.
and for your call center because
Yes.
that can drive a person to have more
they
high
tossed that
anxiety.
idea around here and there, but none of our physicians wanted our patients to not have a physical person to talk
Oh, my
to.
gosh,
They
that
didn't want
is
them to have to go through an
such a-
automated system. So
Such a great
Yeah.
decision.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't even like with McDonald's. You push now. You go up to that big kiosk thing, just to add extra tartar sauce to your fish sandwich.
Yeah.
yeah, we're getting more and more disconnected from personal contact for sure.
I know it is crazy.
Yeah.
I would rather do this. Just
especially
talk to
when
people.
it's involves your sight. That could be a scary situation. So you
Yeah.
probably need somebody on the other line to help you out.
Yeah.
Let you
Yes.
discern whether it's
Absolutely,
something
yeah.
that's
Serious
fairly
or-
common.
yeah.
So do you use like the technology where they can hold up their phone to their face and like FaceTime thing? Like, well, show me your eye, and then they hold
Well,
up.
now we do have a generalized email address for when patients say,
Send us your eye picture.
and they've sent us pictures before. Like when I'm on call over the weekend, a patient will be telling me their symptoms, and sometimes it's hard to discern, and I'll tell them, take a picture of your eye, send it to me so I can kind of
Really?
see what's going on. So yes, they can email us pictures. I had a patient do it actually a week or two ago. A woman sending a picture of her son in.
Wow.
So, I mean, we have a generalized email address that they can send pictures to, so we can kind of.
And then after hours, you can have people come in because the doctors are available.
Yes,
and
there's
take care of
7
them.
of us technicians that take call year round.
So what is that phone number? Can I ask you to
They
announce
call
it?
the 622-5183 number, and
Same
it gets
number.
an automated thing, and they literally
Oh,
just
okay.
push 2 numbers, and it connects them straight to our on-call phone.
Say it again, 622?
5183.
Okay, 622-5183. So that's the number for everything. Whether
the
we're
number for everything.
getting eyeglasses or anything serious or just a question.
Yes.
Okay, and you can ask for somebody else.
Yes.
Yes.
Like a child, for example. Right? What? Or me. You can ask for me, Robin. Thank you for coming in and doing this. It's always fun.
Yeah.
Hopefully you have as much fun as we do.
Yes.
And the information is very useful and
Important.
important, yeah. Plus, I realized today it's the only health item where there's fashion.
Yes.
Like, nobody has, like, a fashionable kidney, you know?
No.
Nope.
Or colored contacts. Those are fashionable too.
Everything with the eyes,
that's right.
yes. It's practical, functional, and fashionable.
That's right. That's right. We aim to please.
I saw that in the men's room. There was a sign.
Oh, Lord.
Have you ever seen that sign? It's not in the ladies' room,
I
right?
don't use them.
You've seen it, right? Yeah. It says, "We aim to please. You aim to please." That's what it says in there. All right. Thank you, all 3 of you. Thank you for coming in. Let me see. There's music in here somewhere, and I have to end with it. And it's over here somewhere. Robin, help me with the music. Jeez.
I can't see that.
Oh, here it is. Oh, here it is. Nikki, thank you for coming in. Nikki Nix and Shannon Rains, thank you. And, of course, Chris Bond, thank you for coming in. Ocala Eye, the
Thank you
phone
for
number.
having us.
The phone number is 622-5183. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be right
you.
back.
You know how frogs are so hoppy? It's because they don't smoke or have COPD, otherwise they would be flip-flop.